Here. Matthew Baumgarten. Donna Dirksey.
Here.
Pedro Dracopoulos. Jennifer Finney.
Here.
Maggie Gallo.
I don't think we'll see Maggie and Eli probably for the rest of the summer.
Okay.
I think
We're
they're,
all going on vacation. Lawrence Gallagher.
Here.
Andy Gilbert.
Here.
Eli Woods is probably. Mitchell Mosley.
Here.
Ted Salafla.
Mateo said he wasn't coming.
Not. Raza Rahman.
Here.
Brian Schnitt is excused. Linda Dyke is excused.
Wayne's sister ended up in the ER. She's having an appendix out this morning. He's with her.
Oh, so sorry. Can I get a motion to approve the minutes? Agenda, sorry.
So moved. Support.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, so
Now,
now can I get a motion to approve the minutes?
Motion approved. Support.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. Mitchell, you're up, sir.
Treasurer's report. So with 1 month to go in the fiscal, the year, we still have, we're still short of our spending goal, which means we have more money than we should have at this point. So we're still up, there's about $150,000 more to spend in June, which we're not going to spend it all, so we're going to have a little higher fund balance than we thought as a few things. Majority, Vivian, the $75,000 for the Rowe diet is still going to be paid this year, this fiscal year?
Well, it'll depend when the contractors, when they actually bill that,
So
so.
it may not be that. Okay. But other than that, everything that we...
It should be billed this fiscal year, though, services were completed.
Well, it'll be billed for this fiscal year. I don't know, we haven't seen the invoice yet.
So is that-
It will get credited to this year.
Yeah.
That's what I'm asking, it's an accrued basis, so
Yes.
we're going to take it out anyway, so, okay.
Yeah.
So
We just haven't seen the invoice yet.
yeah, we're still going to have a little more money than we thought and going into next year, so, yeah, everything is as planned.
Thank you, Mitchell. Discussion items. Oh, I'm
We
sorry.
have to-
Move to approve the treasurer's report.
So moved.
Support.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So done. Okay, now we're going to discuss new board members.
Yeah, and actually, I'll let Larry kind of speak to this because he's the chair of our board committee, but first I do want to say that this will be Larry's last meeting after 20 years, and we're going to miss him dearly, but he's staying on the organization committee, and of course he can always be lassoed back in, but your dedication and the time and effort that you've put in on the DDA's behalf is so appreciated, Larry. You have brought such a great skill set, and I've loved having you on the board committee, and I'm glad you're staying, so.
I appreciate the words. Very quickly, it's been a nice run. I think I know the school district really appreciates this seat on the board. And eventually you're going to hear of a talented guy that's going to take my spot. But it's been a great run. For all great years. I think the last several years, though, it's a certain vibe and momentum that I hope to be part of as the organization committee member. But yeah, just a lot of good stuff going. More recently, fantastic, and I hope the beat goes on. I'm sure it will. So thanks.
Well, we're not letting you go.
Right.
Bravo, Larry.
Appreciate it.
So I'm gonna let Larry, because he's, so he can talk about our new board member prospects and the three. Now, I will say Amanda couldn't be here this morning. She texted me last night. She had a meeting come up quickly, but a lot of the people on the board have met her, so
Yeah, very quickly, last week, Andrew, myself, Amy Sullivan met with the three candidates. and to just kind of get a feel for their interest in the DDA and their passions and their background. So very quickly for Amanda Ramirez, she's been on the marketing and promotions committee for a while, been very integral with a couple of our events, Art and About and those kinds of events. Was one of our reps to the 2018 Main Street Conference. Works in the engineering department at Ford and is a district resident. Christine Gross is here in the audience. 25 years in the business world, a CPA, which makes her pretty cool all by itself. Huntington Wood resident, and recently, the last couple of years, a property owner and a partner in Berkley Commons with her sister. So great background there as well. And then Scott Francis, Director of Curriculum and Technology for the district. So that means anything that touches student teaching and learning, he has a part of. So the district's really appreciated the partnership with the DDA, with our student reps, the Mural program, and I think the whole site as a collaborative center at the high school is a solid site as well. So I think Scott's going to carry that torch and actually ramp it up a bit. He too is a district resident, and he has a lot of passion for the town. All three candidates, it was a solid discussion. There's the passion, we made clear that there's an expectation to sit on the committees, a ramped up effort to be more present at city council meetings and events. They're all good to go with that. They're all very busy folks, but willing to do that. Work hard, keen interest on keeping the momentum going as well. All three of them had. So I know I can say on behalf of the OR committee who we reviewed, resounding support for the three folks that are on the agenda for approval.
Do you guys have questions for them? Anybody want to?
No, but I would say I've had personal workings with Amanda, and as citizens, and just residents that decide to donate time, which we all know is valuable. She's a hard worker. I can only imagine what she does for Ford and and what she brings back to the table for them. So, where's the GM? Ford.
It's Ford. But kind of piggyback off of what Andy said, I know Amanda, she sits in marketing promotions. She also is on Art and About. Right now we still don't have an event chair, so her and Gabby, another resident who volunteers, they've really stepped up and been kind of running those meetings so we can have a successful event in August. And for Mayor Month, she is in charge of that and just puts her heart and soul into everything, so no, she'll be a great addition.
Yeah, all three are really exceptional candidates. We're really lucky, I think, to have them on board.
Do we have any further discussion on our three new board members? Should we move on?
I think you need to vote to accept them as.
We do.
Yeah.
Okay.
Motion?
Motion to accept all three candidates for the new seats on the board?
Support.
Huh?
What? Yes.
Motion?
Motion.
Support.
Sorry.
No.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay,
Bravo.
welcome.
You guys start next month?
You're not taking us out for bagels and coffee today?
Oh yeah, we forgot to tell you guys, you have to get the board to breakfast.
Newbies have to bring it.
Wow.
Petra brought it for you.
I did.
Did you discuss the salary with them?
Yeah.
Just as a note, the council's tentatively scheduled to review and approve board appointments on the July 1st.
Right.
So,
And then-
there's still one more step as to go before city council.
And then you guys will need to go in, like I mentioned, to the clerk's office and then get sworn in before the next board meeting. So, it's easy to do it.
Matt, do you want them to attend the council meeting, or is that not necessary?
No, it's always encouraged to attend any of our boards, our prospective board members, or anybody on the boards and commissions always are invited to attend the meeting. At some point, usually the mayor or member of council will actually say, anybody want to say anything, any few words or anything like that, and so they'll give you an opportunity to introduce yourself to the council and community at large.
Awesome. All right, Vivi, you want to fill us in on Rowe?
Yeah, so this is just an extension of the annual engineering services proposal that we have with Cheryl Gregory. She recently moved from Spalding to Decker to Rowe Professional, so the agreement that you guys have is just a pickup from what we did with when she was at Spalding to Decker. So it's the same, it caps out at $3,000 per year, and it's as needed engineering services, and I think that she's proven to be a huge asset to our DDA, you know, as a team member, as we've been looking and, you know, at various traffic and pedestrian access issues, so you just need to approve this particular agreement.
And it was capped at a certain,
3,000.
200, how much?
$3,000 is what we have in there for the budget, so she caps it.
3750 is what it says in the contract, right? No more than 25 hours a day.
25 hours, yeah, that's what it is.
Okay.
Can I get a motion to approve the contract with Rowe Professional?
Motion approved.
Support?
Support.
All in favor?
I think for discussion, what do we anticipate ongoing engineering services to look like?
12 Mile,
12 Mile?
yeah. Continuing to work on getting the crosswalks back open,
Okay.
so.
What, on 12 Mile, like crosswalks there too, or sort of the sites like the Rabina stuff, or?
Yeah, I mean, all of that, trying to get, you know, the street, maybe trying to move to getting the street back under local control, you know, looking at long-term maybe road diet there, things like that.
It was 3,000 or 3,750?
3750, it says in the letter.
Anyone else have any questions?
It says 25 hours at 150 an hour, 3750 is the cap. We're committed to no more than that. Anything more than that is a discussion, and, you know,
She's never gone over, she's consistently on her.
Yeah, I was just curious, and kind of having Coolidge completed for the time being, what ongoing items we're going to be engaging them for. And then she'll work with the city on the conversation about local control at 12 Mile. We'll probably be depending on HRC quite a bit on that as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
The city retains the engineering contract, right?
We do.
Yeah.
We have a,
With HRC.
Okay.
No.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Let's talk about GM Elliot PC.
So it was recommended to us as a best practice, both by the Michigan Downtown Association as well as East Oakland County, that the DDA have just as needed attorney services. So this is from Greg Elliot, who comes to us highly recommended from Clausen. The city's financial director knows him, the previous economic development director from Clausen, who's now in Lathrop Village, worked with him. And the nice thing is that he is not only an attorney who deeply understands DDA law, New Public Act 57 of 2018, but he's also an urban planner by trade. So we kind of now have, this is the opportunity to not only bring on that legal expertise regarding to DDA law, but also have that urban planning expertise. He also has given us a very competitive rate of $75 per hour, which should save us some funds in the long run. Right now, we are dependent on using the city's attorney, who's a great guy, I love John. But, you know, he bills out, I'm pretty sure, at a little bit higher rate. And if you look at our budget, the city requested an additional $4,000. So over the past 2 years, we've seen that internal services go from $4,000 to $10,000. And I believe a lot of that's probably related to some the legal expertise that we've had to request, from John. So this will, I think, be able to not only bring, that specialized DDA law and the urban planning expertise as we look at, things that are land use and legal issues within the DDA district. But I think it will also be a cost savings for us. And just like with Cheryl Gregory, it just puts another great team member on the team that can work, alongside John when necessary, just like HRC and Cheryl work together. So I think it just strengthens the perspective and the partnership all around. And it fulfills what, they're recommending that we do at the, state level and the local level.
So that's capped at $2,000, it's $75 an hour, which is a great rate. But $2,000 is what's approved in the budget.
Yeah,
So what is that, about 25 hours worth of work,
yeah.
which again is I'm comfortable with that amount of hours.
Yeah.
No more than that without going in front of the board again.
Exactly. And he was really comfortable with, when I talked to him about just different things that we might have him review, he was very comfortable with that 25 hours. And he's a good guy. And like I said, he comes highly recommended. Mark knows him, the finance director from Clausen, and he's worked, closely with their economic development director, like who I said, he just moved over to Lakeville Village a little while ago.
And this gives us an option on expenses we're already incurring, correct?
Yeah, so what we should be able to offset some of those internal services expenses by using Greg, so.
Okay.
It should be a cost saving.
Quick question on the cost saving aspect. The money that's allocated to us from Oakland County for professional services, is that something that we're gonna pay kind of every year, or?
Well, that would not go towards this, that goes to yes.
Yeah.
So every year we get funds from Main Oakland County for technical
For
expertise.
technical expertise?
That's like bringing in, like this year we'll be bringing in the goal is to bring in a consultant to meet with the various restaurants and, food-related businesses. Some of those funds last year went towards helping bring in our retail consultant who met with other retailers.
Did we not use it also, maybe I'm misthinking about the legal association with the not-for-profit organization, right?
So yes, we're also this year using some of those funds to pay towards, the attorney who's setting up the 501c3.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
So we get about $6,500. We get $6,500 or so from Oakland County, and then we can split that up and kind of work with them.
what was that? I'm sorry.
Maybe answer my question.
I was asking if it was the same attorney for the nonprofit as well as the.
No, this isn't, no, Lisa specializes in nonprofits. It's a totally different, yeah.
I'm just thinking that down the road, let's say we're at this time next year and we're looking at funds and allocations. Technically, that Oakland County money could be used for our legal, right?
I don't think they would, no, I don't think, they want to see it invested in the district. So while it works for the nonprofit, it's because the nonprofit is an economic development strategy.
All right, so I have a question. Yeah. No, it's a very good rate from a person who just paid $275 an hour for a real estate lawyer.
Yeah.
Is he doing that rate for any particular reason? I mean, it can't be his going rate.
No, in his letter, he explained, when I talked to him, I said, look, we've got a limited budget here, we occasionally need some advice, and I think he's got a passion for, this type of work, and so he was able to, and he's an individual, he's his own company, so it's not like he's working for a larger firm and he's required to do billable hours and, at a set rate, so it works out well.
You've got Troy's card.
Yeah, please.
Too late.
It is a great rate, and I'm glad you mentioned in here that this is not an attempt to create a separation between the city. I do continue to be concerned about the potential for that to arise I'm very comfortable with the legal opinions that we've gotten from John Sterren on a number of issues that the DDA board has faced. And even at $2,000, it's, not a massive impact on our budget, but it does feel a little bit redundant. And if the two were to ever disagree, I think we should be looking to defer to the city attorney himself on the matter.
Well, if it's DDA related, I think you have to refer to the attorney who has the DDA expertise.
I think that's jumping the gun, and it's
Yeah,
a valid
I
point
think so too.
that we do want to be aware not to cause a rift,
Right.
if that's what you think. I
Yeah,
mean,
I'm concerned about it.
We all have to be
happening
aware
over
of that.
time.
We don't, nobody wants that. And if a situation comes up with this conflicting opinions, we address it at that point. Who knows what that would be about, or.
On the,
Are we, no.
oh, well, on the topic of specialization, I get that all the time from lawyers, where I go to someone and go, hey, what do you think about this? And they go, I don't do that. Here's a number of someone who does, because most lawyers, especially seasoned veterans, they don't feel comfortable even giving advice on things that they don't have absolute knowledge about, So lawyers get together and they understand where everyone's strengths are. Like, I think this is just strengthens our legal. It doesn't really, you know what I mean? But I can completely understand where you're thinking, if there's a disagreement somewhere, right? But again, let's also understand that they're both contracted employees, right? Like, their disagreement doesn't necessarily mean our disagreement, and we'll have to review everything in time, right? So.
And it's worked seamlessly with, like with Cheryl Gregory when she was with Spalding and Decker and HRC, and it just strengthens, I think. It's like having that second opinion, and this guy specializes in DDA law, and DDA law is pretty, it's got some weird little intricacies, so it helps to have that expertise on board.
And again, we are getting billed for John's services.
Yes.
At what rate?
I don't know, you have to ask.
The contract rate with the city.
And what is that?
I don't have it off the top of my head.
If you had to take a stab in the dark, is it?
It's a retainer, so it's up to, there's a specific amount that we pay for, and then I think there's hours after that are billed differently. I would honestly have to look at it. I've been looking at some, like, we're getting ready to discuss renewing this contract. So I've been looking at rates, but I don't have them off the top of my head. Apologize.
Any other discussion on Mr. Elliot? Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve Mr. Elliott's contract.
Support.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
Okay.
Was that a no?
No.
It wasn't.
So that was not unanimous.
Wait, the no means you oppose
I
this
was,
contract.
I should have said no to anyone opposed, because that means I'm not opposed, but on this particular issue, I'm opposed to the contract.
Opposed to that.
Oh, thanks for the clarification. Okay, let's talk about executive director annual review process.
So, we know that, last year we did an annual review, and Larry, and Rowe was on that, Larry.
Brian,
Yeah.
someone else, I can't recall right now.
So anyway, we've made sure that there's that executive director's annual review in place, but one of the recommendations that came out of the Main Street Center's evaluation, which you guys will be going over in more detail when we do our strategic planning session, was that it be a more robust review with a self-evaluation and a written evaluation, and this is something Mitchell and I have been talking about also. So this will fall basically under the organization committee's purview, and what I've suggested is just kind of a timeline that would put the organization committee, putting the evaluation committee members together in June. At the July board meeting, the board committee would recommend that evaluation committee members to the full board so that they can have some input. in July and August, that evaluation committee would develop the evaluation documents. And then in August and September, the evaluations would be completed by both the executive director and the evaluation committee. And then at the September board meeting, the evaluation results would be presented to the board. And I think that this timeline actually works, you know, with the contract being renewed in January. It kind of, you know, gives you into the third quarter to look back at the previous year's work. So I don't think that this is anything that needs to be voted on, but it's definitely something that, you know, you guys might want to give some direction if there's something you would like to see done differently to the organization committee as they start to begin this process.
I'm missing here, does the evaluation committee meet one-on-one with your trustees? Is that part of this process?
No, it's not, but they certainly could.
I would recommend that they be part of the process.
That's good.
I was going to add to that as well. I think this timeline is great. I think that there was some discussion, let me back up a step. A formal evaluation of the executive director should happen, absolutely. It should be
Yes.
better, it's best for the city is the main reason. Best for the executive director, best for everybody involved, the city certainly. I
Well, the
think
DDA for sure.
the DDA, I meant the community, the
Yeah.
business, the owners, for everybody involved, it should be. I think it should be a full board, and I've discussed this with you, I think it should be a full board. I think the people on this board, I've seen it time and time again, have really good input. Some of us maybe not as others, don't have a strong input, me, whatever, but most everybody has really good input at different times about different discussions. I think all the board members should be involved. I think it has to be in a closed session, and I don't know if that's, what's the attorneys say about that? Is that allowed?
Yeah.
There's certain things you can do a closed session. I think that was one of them. And I feel pretty strongly that it should be all board members involved, everybody put their input in. If the org committee wants to condense it, that's fine, and then present it to the public afterwards. But I mean, we do it quite successfully at the school district. The executive director fills out a kind of a self-evaluation. All the board members get together, read it, have a very, very frank discussion on all of it. Maybe we summarize it, present it to the public, but I think it should take a real formal step and everybody should be involved. That's my
Yeah, it's, I mean, however you guys want to do it, I just wanted to throw something out there for
Yeah.
discussion, so.
I agree with both those points. I agree that I think everyone should be involved, because everyone's voice is important within the council for sure. And then I've never done a review of an employee in an open format. You know, I guess to similarly to like my business, I don't review an employee in front of the entire kitchen, you know.
But it's a public,
It is,
paid by
absolutely.
taxpayer, you have to do that.
Yeah, I completely understand. I think that the results should be absolutely, you know what I mean, given public, but I think the discussion points on how we feel, I don't think, you know, should be open, just
It
for.
should be in that closed meeting.
The actual discussion should
Yeah.
be in a closed session.
Yeah.
Agreed.
That's what some of what I was recommending, individual interviews with trustees on their thoughts on it. So that could be what ends up being distilled into a conversation, which talk open, you know, within a closed session. We can
Very
talk about
open.
those results, but in advance of that, meet individually with board of trustee members.
Sure.
Because there might be somebody who, I don't know, you just may get a different conversation with the people around the table versus a one-on-one conversation. So the chance to cover both of those aspects would would only make the evaluation process stronger.
Are you discussing the real world videotape in the corner? Remember that? It was a joke.
Oh, real world.
Yeah.
That's a deep cut there, going away
It's a
back to
deep
real
cut.
world.
I'm showing my age on that.
I was more of a road rules guy myself.
Oh, yeah, good. Yeah.
Yeah, so really, this is just about you guys giving the org committee, you know, some direction as to how to go, and then they can kind of fine tune the process, bring it back to you, and then make, you know, whether it's one-on-ones with the board or whether it's a group discussion, maybe it's really what you guys want.
Maybe some framework as to past topics to cover in the meetings. This is the format we've used in the past, and then we can, in open session, in closed session, maybe hit that, maybe amend that, but it's, yeah, I mean, that would be a good start of the framework.
Okay.
I would agree and back up with Mitchell's take on this. I mean, I think every board member here, you know, and even the ones that aren't here, you know, bring something to the table as far as, you know, what we can do better, and we always can do better. So I totally concur with that. This is not something we're voting on, correct?
No.
But we can do we have any further discussion on this right now?
I like that we're looking internally. I recommended this a while back. I would still advocate that we do an external district-wide survey as well, just to see how well the DDA board as an organization is meeting the needs of the district's stakeholders.
We do that. We did that in January. We do that with the
Yeah,
businesses.
I think it's good. We should keep it going.
Yeah.
I think internally and externally, both very healthy.
I have a question, maybe they could produce some guidelines. Does the city council do any internal, like,
Yeah.
reviews?
Yeah, I do,
How is that done?
annual views with council. The mayor will distribute an evaluation form. It's pretty comprehensive, there's a lot there. So the individual council members will fill it out, return it back to the mayor. The mayor consolidates all those, we use a numerical score system. The numerical scores, and then it's discussed with me, myself, and council in closed session.
Could we, okay, so we've just deduced that maybe we're doing that same process.
It's
Yeah.
pretty similar.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so could we get a copy of that evaluation sheet so that maybe we can look at possibly doing something for our internal?
Yeah.
Put it together with ours.
Sure, Mayor
Well, the
Turner.
school board has one as well, right?
Correct.
So maybe we can compare the two and extrapolate a third one that meets our needs.
Do you want to have it, it's already filled out version of Mr. McDavid?
That's a lot of red pen.
He'll be happy with that. I'll pass it along.
Yeah, pass it on.
No, it's a good idea to get the three of them and then put
Yeah,
together.
I like that.
Plus, it's a living document in a sense, so is this process. Do it this way this year, as long as the timing is right too.
Yeah.
There was discussion, and I don't know the specifics, but there was discussion that this didn't take place till the first of this year. And we definitely want to make sure, and it says it in here, we definitely want to have this evaluation prior to year end.
Well, the
I
last
think it's in
evaluation
November.
took place last July, so it was a year ago.
Oh, July?
Yeah,
Oh, sorry.
yeah.
I was tracking time too.
Okay, yeah, right.
No, it was actually, yeah, so,
Good, good.
All right, then, if there's no other discussion on that, we'll move on to Mr. Zinn. Is that about?
yeah, so this is the mural application. As you guys know, when, with the DDA mural application process, it comes to the DDA board. The Public Art Committee makes a recommendation as to whether or not to approve. They're all in favor of David Zinn. He's a very well-known
So, yes.
artist. He's been here for the past 2 years for the Berkley Street Art Fest with the chalk. And this year, the chamber is bringing him on to do a couple specific murals that will be permanent versus the chalk. So you see his application, you've seen kind of examples of his work. He obviously he assigned that new mural application, so he's aware of the issues that we've had, and he's comfortable moving forward. So it's just a matter of you guys voting to approve his application so he can do his stuff in July. And you will be seeing a couple more applications at the next meeting, which will be right before the Street Art Fest, so.
For those of you who haven't seen David Zinn's work, or if you all have, he's awesome. He takes cracks in streets or walls, or changes in elevation in the sidewalk, and has creatures coming out of them. And it's definitely an add-on to our street walking and entertainment, in the city, as well as his talent. He is equally as nice, and I will definitely, he's doing, I think he's doing one on Coolidge and one on 12 Mile, or is it two on
No,
Coolidge?
I think he's got,
I know he's doing Balanced Health.
And,
it's in the application.
it's two places.
It's two places.
But as we
Oh, he's
add
doing-
mural work and, you know, permanent artwork to the city, he's definitely a good add-on for us.
Yeah, library.
Yeah, the library.
Oh, the library, that's right.
That's right.
Yeah, I'm excited at getting permanent stuff here. He does these beautiful, intricate 3D things and they're just gone.
Very clever.
They exist, they're beautiful, and then the rain comes and they're gone. So I think it's cool that we're gonna be able to have a permanent Zinn mural or painting or.
Having a permanent mural is definitely more cost effective than actually leveling out the walkway. So like, that's a win, right?
A new solution for Robina Plaza.
Yeah, there you go, yeah. We got a project for you.
The more problems you want.
Is there a cost involved with this?
Yes, it's part of our budget for the Street Fest. So, yeah, I mean, you know, as we add more murals, as this artwork, you know, this public artwork, you know, begins to form, you know, more and more of it in the city, we're just giving our residents and our visitors, you know, something more to, you know, go look at and do. And as far as our talent, you know, I mean, it's just awesome. And to back up what Matthew said, I mean, I watched, you know, after the first year of the Street Fest, and we did the chalk in the back for, it didn't rain for several months after, hundreds of strollers, walkers, and that alleyway never has seen so much traffic. You know, moms walking with strollers and families and checking out that artwork. There was a couple that actually even stayed even beyond, and I talked to the artist. She said she had used a different base color, as well as she used a hairnet aqua spray over the top of it when she finished, and it stayed for quite a while. So it's awesome work, and it didn't stay as long out on Coolidge, you know, and especially it rained that day a little bit, and but again, I think people had weeks of people coming by and looking at it, and you can tell what they're looking at. I mean, it's very obvious. So
It's fun stuff.
And the art did get showcased. You guys also the Only in Your State article, right?
What's that?
The Berkley Only in Your State article. Did you guys see that? Where it was Only in Your State and they showcased Berkley.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
The funky little town.
The
Yeah.
funky little town, yeah.
Yeah, I
It's
saw
a
that.
great little short read, and it showcases a lot of stuff in Berkeley.
Yeah,
And the art was one of them, so
yeah.
it's appreciative.
we're building a name for ourselves in that respect, and I think that's definitely a good direction for us.
Vivian, you mentioned problems in the past with murals.
So we ran into an issue with one of the murals we did with the Paolo Padini mural with the copyright. So what we did, just to protect ourselves going forward, is put some new language into the mural application, just to clarify who owns the copyright, so that, you know, anybody can take a picture in front. I mean, these murals are, you know, an economic development strategy, so the goal is to try and get people to take pictures and post them and, you know, share and things like that. So all we're doing is protecting ourselves from the copyright.
So, somebody took a picture of Nova Chiropractic as well, and Twittered it on the Auto Show's website. Well, the artists, I don't know whether he retained an attorney, the attorney found him, you know, and started questioning whether it was a work of art, you know, for public consumption, or if it was being used as advertising. So we just needed to make that clarification in the new contract so that that doesn't develop again.
Unfortunately, the new world we live in.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Litigious. So,
Yeah, vote.
You just gotta take a vote on it.
okay, can I get a motion?
So, sports.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Awesome, bring on Mr. Zinn. Okay, we're gonna talk about the budget.
Yeah, so there's nothing, this is the same budget that you saw in April, other than the fact that you'll see shows the increase in the revenues from the TIF. But everything else is the same. We've had that discussion about that TIF increase. The council approved this budget, so now just coming back to you guys for final approval.
Have any discussion? Can I get a motion?
I move to pass the budget.
Support.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. In the effort to make ourselves more visible to the public, I guess we are going to start a rotation of different board members being present at board meeting, the city council meetings. Obviously, it would be awesome if we all showed up at every meeting, but the likelihood of that happening is not. But if we can at least get a small handful of people, and do we have a sign-up sheet for this?
No, I was just
Okay.
gonna go through and,
Okay, so, I mean, what we're asking is that everybody take the time, and do their share, not only at the meetings here, but, attending the city council meetings just to show our presence, and, if we're needed and called upon, at least we're there to, interject. Maybe we'll start with Petro and go around the table and see if we can align dates with people.
You need dates, yeah.
I'll do July 1st.
You just jumped on me, man.
well,
Yeah, I gave you the opportunity.
well, we know Andy's gonna go next Monday because he's gonna talk about Art and About, which I believe the
Yeah.
street closures on so we know Andy will be there on the 17th.
But I welcome you, Andrew.
Oh, yeah, the 17th, yeah, July 1st, because once football starts, I'm done for like 4 months, so.
Great. So you're doing
I'll
July
do July
1st?
1st unless,
Try that
Okay.
with my wife, she wouldn't buy it.
no.
What's the date, so it's every month, so July 1st, is the first of every month, or?
No, so you have,
Oh, yeah, I have to look, I'm sorry, I can't
No,
look at
you
my
don't.
calendar and that.
Right,
Okay.
so they change. I
Yeah,
just
yeah.
went through the end of the year. Some months there's only one, some months there's two.
It's the 22nd of August, just so we don't get anybody sign up.
It's not the 12th?
22nd.
Okay.
Oh, sorry, okay.
All right. December 16th.
There you go.
Signed, sealed, delivered.
Okay,
Jennifer?
I can do August 12th.
22nd.
I'm sorry, it's 22nd.
Donna?
We just said that.
August
sorry.
22nd?
Yeah, that's fine.
22nd.
She'll do the August.
I see Donna fervently going through her
I'm
calendar.
determined. What day of the week?
Monday,
Monday.
Monday night.
All Mondays. Okay, cool. I can do, what's the next one, September?
Wait, August 22nd is a Thursday.
Yeah, I think it's the 12th. I
Look at the
tried to go
calendar.
through the
This
entire
should be
calendar.
We have it there, mismarked and something I have, so.
Was it pushed back possibly because of the,
No,
I went through
no,
the city's
My apologies to
calendar.
Vivian, it was,
It is the 12th?
I have
Okay,
it
so
wrong
Jennifer,
in my
switch yours to the 12th.
Okay.
Well, my apologies, Vivian,
Okay.
And Donna, should we come back to you?
I need to change up my board.
No, you can throw me on for September, that'd be fine.
Awesome.
September 16th.
September 16th.
Mitchell?
So there's only 2 days left that I can attend. I'll take either one or both of them. 10, what is that, October and November.
There's two.
And remember, it's okay if we have more than
Yeah.
one board member.
I'm
there,
gonna go to
so-
both of those.
Okay.
if there's more people.
What, the 2 Octobers?
October 22nd,
21?
21, and November 18th.
Is there?
I could do the 21st of October.
And Larry, we'll skip you, sorry.
I'm actually have a meeting every one of these nights, you wouldn't believe it.
Wait a second.
I booked every one of these nights.
Can Matt just sign up for all of them?
Andrew, we got, I will do July, and I'll commit to the July one, but I'm sure I will show up at other ones as well.
You're
As long as we have a couple new board members here, should we take reservations from them as well?
Yes.
Two tops?
July 1st, it's recommended that we go there, correct?
Right.
So we'll be at July 1st, and then I can commit to November 18th.
I'll do the October. The 7th?
Yes.
Awesome. And to remember, should you find yourself available for a meeting date that you didn't sign up for, feel free to attend because they're so awesome and fun.
They actually are nice.
They actually, that was the first one I ever went to was when we got the award, and it was pleasant.
Yeah.
It was pleasant.
Um,
It was where we were situated, gave us no room to actively try to sneak out. That was interesting because I was analyzing the floor and I was like, nope, I'm here for the long haul. But it was great.
We're going to pass over our student board members since they're not here. And we'll go on to Mitchell again for business development.
Mitchell didn't go to the last meeting, maybe give you to speak to that.
You know, we met with the representative from Issues Media Group to just kind of fine tune this community newsroom program that we're doing, kind of that B2B thing, to try and reach out to different stakeholders, business owners, and get their stories to be able to share with other prospective businesses, entrepreneurs, developers on why they would want to come and invest in the DDA district. So if you remember, this was it's a 4-week initiative. It's 2 weeks in June and 2 weeks in July, and then there'll be like a final report. But that is one of the things that we're doing in tandem with some funding from Oakland County. So I think we're pretty excited about it. Chris, I'll be reaching out to you and Katie. And you know, some of the others. So that about covers. That's the big thing that the business development committee is working on.
Does anybody have information on Mateo on the design committee?
Yeah, we had our design committee last night. Had a good meeting. We talked about we're tweaking the facade grant to become a downtown enhancement grant, where we will not only cover facades but surface parking lot enhancements, meaning greenery, activating spaces, so not anything that would just be repaving or restriping, but actual beautification and enhancements. So I think that those, we pretty much fine-tuned that particular document. I'll send it out to the entire committee for review because they weren't all there, but we should have that pretty much tweaked in the next week or so. But what it will do is offer up to $5,000 in a matching grant for the facade, just like we're doing now, based on level of investment. And then we'll do the same with up to $5,000 in a matching grant for the parking lot enhancements. One of the things that's nice is through Oakland County, where Ron Campbell comes in and he does those facade, we get the free design services. He's also working with our businesses on the parking lot enhancements. So, for instance, he's given down a design. We're meeting with Brian from Zalman's on Friday to look at ways to enhance not only his facade but his parking lot. So I think we'll see Coco Fairfield probably applying for one of those, as they take parking area behind and try to activate it into, outdoor dining. So the more we can kind of do, and this is supported with the downtown master plan suggestions, the more we can do to kind of help enhance these surface parking lots, the better off our district is going to be because of the number of them that we have. So.
Okay, Jennifer, you're up. Oh, that's right, you.
I was just saying, very cool.
Thank you.
Marketing and promotions met on Monday. We had talked about briefly in this meeting, and then in future meetings we're going to talk about it more extensively, but a way to re-engage our committees. The last few committee meetings we haven't had a ton of our committee members show up, so we need to re-engage them with marketing and promotions. So we'll probably discuss that more in the next few months. We also talked about kind of collaborating with the chamber to create a Facebook group for a call for volunteers for different events. I know Vivian's going to take the lead on that, but we kind of discussed just kind of having a closed Facebook group and just kind of have, it would basically just be a call out, you know, ladies' night out is Thursday, can anyone help pass out maps from, you know, this time to this time? And it would be purely for that, for all city events.
Yep.
And then we reviewed the Berkley Night Out, Couples Night Out action plan, formerly known as Ladies Night Out. So we have some good goals for Couples Night Out. We're trying to draw a wider, bigger audience, hence the change in theme. We're also trying to get more restaurants to participate and get more Berkley businesses to participate as well.
Restaurants, Petra, restaurants.
Yeah. It's always a little rough because the walking distance between 12 Mile and what is
So
basically.
it's happy hour specials, so they would just come to you first and then
I'm
drive
happy
up
every
the
hour of the
street.
day.
I know you are.
Yeah, absolutely.
We'll talk to you.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, in the past, we did even bottle discounts on wine, and then I had bottle bags, and then we take it home, you know what I
Okay,
mean, things like that.
So I'll be sending this action plan out to the committee members so we can get rolling on getting more restaurants and businesses to participate and kind of get this moving since it is Thursday, July 18th, so just about a month away. And we briefly talked about Art and About, just kind of, that event isn't until August, but we're just, you know, in our marketing promotions, I make sure we have enough time to kind of talk about it, because again, I mentioned earlier, we don't have an event chair, so we're doing everything we can to make sure everything's moving along for that event as well.
I want to back that up with any of our business owners that are, sitting at this table is, when you're talking to other business owners and they haven't engaged, in, city activity and some of these different promotions and events that we're doing, encourage them. It's the same half dozen people that are involved in these committees, and sitting on multiple committees, and that's likely why, we're having a little bit of an attendance, issue, because we're calling on those same exact 5-6 people. So if you're talking to other business owners and they're not engaged, encourage them to call, Jennifer or me and get on a committee, or Vivian. We need help. These promotions, these activities that we're doing are awesome, but they don't run themselves, unfortunately. And
Also, to that point, you're absolutely correct. It could be time of year too for that kind of stuff, right? And people off on vacation, people focusing on business stuff, I don't know, unless it's a trend that they weren't showing up, like have you seen the last 6 months? Or?
There's been a trend with a few, but I know, again, one woman, she's in real estate, so, anytime she meets with a client, she's gonna meet with them, which I get it,
Yeah.
so, and everything comes up, anything can come up too, so people are sick, so I get it, but I just wanna make sure that we're still,
We're keeping them
engaging.
engaged.
Yeah.
Larry, can we have your final report?
Sure. Met a couple times this month, actually, at Folio. Cool place if you've not been there, cool new space in town. So the first meeting was, or one of the meetings, we held the interviews, and the result of that with the 3 talented folks we just approved earlier. The other meeting, we did discuss the budget a bit, and the end product there is recommendation not to identify or commit those dollars quite yet. I know the strategic plan, downtown master plan, all being updated, so we think there's going to be some use for those dollars stemming from that process. But right now, it was agreed that that's where that should go. The bylaws, we have updated, suggested updates to 9 or 10 of those. I think now the process is to let Mr. Elliot take a look at those on its way back to our board either next month or the month following, so good work there. And the 501c3 sister organization fundraising arm is not forgotten, it's just kind of on the back burner for the time being. We're going to be working on that over the next several months. As we are, I believe, still the video needs to be tied up a bit.
Yeah.
There's some work on that, so.
Yeah, I'm fine tuning that video. We're just trying to tweak the actual script, and then we'll bring it back to those committee chairs to redo the videos. So what we're getting there. And as far as the 501c3, they're just waiting on some feedback from the IRS on the on a portion of it. So it's still moving along, it's just working with the IRS. It's a slow process.
Vivian, you want to do a master plan update?
Oh, yeah, so you guys all got invited to that strategic planning session on the morning of July 13th. This is actually going to be, I think, a pretty fun day. It'll be a 2-hour session. We've invited Council to join us through the first hour of that session, where we would review the draft master plan. And then the second hour, the DDA would then also kind of delve into the recommendations from the National Main Street Center and use both of those documents to then update our strategic plan that we last did 2 years ago, or we first did 2 years ago. And then after that, we will actually have an interactive public input session that will be part of the Street Art Fest, where we are using one of our public art volunteers who's also an artist and muralist who's creating we'll probably take a 4x8 sheet of plywood, and she's kind of doing a paint by number thing, so the public will be able to come and actually paint little sections of it, so it'll be interactive, and then the consultants, Lakota, we'll have a tent there, and they'll have some other boards and, some of the draft master plans, so we'll be able to have this interactive sort of public experience, which I think will be a lot of fun and kind of a great way to wrap up that particular part of the process. So I know some of you have responded to that July 13th, not all of you have, so 8 to 10 a.m. It'll be upstairs in the Public Safety Building. Jen, I know you responded. Donnie, you responded. Mitchell, you?
Actually gonna be out of town.
Okay. Razor, do you know if you're around or are you working?
I should be able to make it.
Okay.
Question on what you just said. So that's a great meeting to have. The council is invited. Did anyone, the RSVP, or you don't know if who shows up? It's real important to have buy-in from the council.
So they've had a personal invite, and they've also had a calendar invite. I've had a couple that responded, but I will follow up with them.
Hopefully,
Yeah.
all of them.
And we had good council representation the first time around.
Yeah, yeah. And then the same with the public input. That's important to have the buy-in with that. So how does this look again, where the public can have input? Where are they going to read the master plan that they can have input?
So what they'll have is just like what we've had at the past public input sessions. There'll be visuals, there'll be a copy of the master plan there, the consultants will be there to talk about it. So there'll be plenty of opportunities to
At
kind
the
of,
Art Fest.
yes, during the, because we thought, what a great way to kind of get people to be able to, paint this piece that then will be there, and also have the opportunity to review the visual sheets as well as the, draft document itself, so.
Good.
Is it indoors?
No, it'll be outdoors.
Oh,
Yeah, we'll all be outside there at the Street Art Fest. So we'll be able to draw people to the Street Art Fest, we'll be able to, interact with people at the Street Art Fest. I think it'll be a lot of fun, and the consultants are pretty excited about it too.
Matt, do you want to do city council?
Well, wait a minute, so we went around, so can you make, are you
July
out of
13th?
town?
I think so. But actually, I check on one appointment.
And Andy, you already signed out.
Well, I'll be there, but I'll have to walk out early just because of
Street
my
Art Fest.
duties with the street fest, yeah.
Yeah.
I have it, the 13th?
Yeah. Okay. Do you guys think either one of you will be able to be there?
I believe so. I am not
Sure.
scheduled.
That's okay, you'll find we like to put people on the spot.
Most likely I'll be there. I'll double check my vacation schedule, but I'm pretty sure I'm
Okay, great, super, thanks you guys.
Do we want to skip city council, or would you want to fill in?
I can report briefly, because it was a brief meeting actually. The June 17th meeting, actually only had a couple items on the agenda, but it really was great to see so many board members there to receive the certification of accreditation from the National Main Street Group. It was all were well-spoken, well-represented by those there. The national, or the Main Street Oakland County representatives did a really good job too of really putting in perspective how great of a job that this board has done in order to achieve that accreditation. So, well done to everyone. From there, it went very quickly. We had 2 items. One, the Woodward Dream Cruise is coming up this year. It's the 25th anniversary, so in advance of that event, City Council authorizes the purchase of like bulk T-shirts and trinkets and polos and everything Woodward Dream Cruise, and then we sell them to the benefit of our community groups the week prior to and the day of the event itself. So big year, big commemorative year for anybody who's interested in getting their 25th anniversary Woodward Dream Cruise items. Then the second part is Parks and Rec Department continues to make really fantastic upgrades to the city's parks. One of them was approved for purchase at this meeting. It's if you guys remember the old school merry-go-rounds that were on the we all probably lost 2, so they got concussions from back in the day. There's a newer, modern version, of course, safer for the little ones, but we're essentially bringing that back to the park, the modern take on that. So that'd be a fun little, it's just called the Spin Place now. So JC Park, probably 4 to 6 weeks, we'll see it installed, and fun will ensue from there. So.
I was surprised to hear that meaning that it's ADA accessible too.
Yes.
Yeah.
So fun for all mobility levels.
Can any of us, I mean, is it adults can?
I don't know.
Or is there a
I haven't
weight
checked the
limit?
weight limits. Usually I just assume.
Yeah.
In my world, most things are out of
The park closed at dusk, so.
then the real fun starts.
Yeah.
You see just a bunch of spinning flashlights and you just throw it up. But it'll be a great addition, and it'll be, I'm sure, welcomed by everyone that lives around there and everyone that visits it.
Awesome. Anyone want to hit Matt? For Planning Commission?
I just gave you an update. Is that not enough?
Yeah, I wasn't at planning, so I don't know what's going on.
We'll just skip. Chamber, you're up.
Yes, I'm Fensei Mandisa with the Chamber. Also work at Eagle Rock Insurance Agency. I'm a risk advisor. But the Art Bash on June 8th went very well, better than we expected. The weather cooperated, so that was great. Rearranged the layout so we were able to have more corner booths. So it went very well. We have the Berkley Street Art Fest on July 13th. So far we have 17 chart artists. And then 2 promotional vendors, 2 food vendors, and 2 artisan vendors. Next month, we're going to be working on the final logistics and kind of getting everything situated. We need more vendors to work this event, volunteers to work this event. And there's a link to sign up, so if anyone is interested in it, I can send you the link. We have the Berkley Pub Crawl on August 24th from noon to 6, recruiting restaurants. And we'll be start advertising in early July. We have Explore Berkley gift certificates. Promotion on social media went out on an email list. We have members, business non-members, and community members, and boosting posts on social media to for gifts and everything. Then we have the ribbon cuttings. Portfolio on June 18th and June 20th for Annabella's Culture and Couture. Sorry. Yep. And that's it. We have one more committee that we just started up. It's called the Adventure Committee. Myself, Tim Laura, Channing Pritchard, Darlene on it. We're just contacting different facilities and nursing homes, and because they go on trips to different cities and explore the cities, and we figured why not Berkeley. So we're going to start that up, and hopefully we get some, more people to know about Berkeley, explore the hidden gem that is Berkeley.
Thanks for that update.
Sorry, is there any discussion about the power outage that occurred?
Yeah, do we know what caused that?
I was I heard two different explanations for it. It's one that a transformer in Oak Park blew, and that it caused one pole grid to go down. That was included the South Park 12 mile, right in the middle of the yard patch.
Yeah, that was unfortunate.
Yeah. But I also heard it was related to the incident in Southfield with the tree trimmer, but that one doesn't make as much sense given the distance between the two, so.
Do we
But
have
the
any?
weather was
The round was.
Yeah, but all those, like, I'm sure you guys were full, 24 was full, Berkley Music was in the midst of entertaining,
yeah.
and all of a sudden nothing. Yeah, so we were on the horn to our governmental relations person right away, let them know I had 10,000 people in Berkeley this weekend, cannot have a power outage. And they did their best, but they actually ended up initially it was 6 p.m. restoration estimation. It did actually come back down to about 6:45. So.
How long was it out?
Went up from about almost 4 hours to the minute.
Yes.
2:44 to 6:45.
Yeah.
It's never a good day.
You guys out too? 'Cause
No, I'm on the Oak Park grid,
okay.
so I never, when Berkeley goes out, I never go out.
Okay, so this building was out.
Yeah.
I didn't see the southern border of it, but I know it was Coolidge, 12, Tyler, and then the southern border of
We flickered.
At that point in time, I'm guessing?
I remember the fall.
things were booming.
Yeah.
So the amount of chaos that ensued, because you can't run, well, there's a lot of
Yeah.
issues.
Right.
And fully staffed, bunch of food. And, I didn't know it was all the power surging at the Art Fest from, with the band, there's this, there's that going on.
No,
That's not it.
but that's not one of the explanations I heard. I was worried that it was temperature related, like too many air conditioners running, because it was only 8 degrees. We're gonna actually have a hot summer and we can't get past 80 degrees without blackouts, so I'm really worried about that.
Yeah.
But the Art Fest or that was mostly generators, right? Or was it, were we plugged into the main energy in Berkeley?
Most of the vendors,
Yeah.
that had power were using the generators to do so. I know Berkeley Music, I think they were plugged into their extra store themselves and the musical acts there. I didn't see a lot of other
Yeah, that's not
extension
enough
cords running
to
around.
cause an entire blackout, so.
Yeah. The best explanation I heard that makes the most sense was that a transfer from former blue and not the whole section of grid.
Any more directors' comments?
I'd like to make a comment about the road diet. I'm so excited with this road diet. So it starts out and I leave my house the day the road diet is and I go up north on Coolidge and I say, what the heck is this? And I'm backed up and whatever. And then I went the same first day, noon, 1 o'clock, and it was really cool. It's a straight run. I didn't even know how great it was until now. It's, what has it been, a month yet?
3 weeks, I think.
So mornings are much cleaner now. It's still a little back up, but that's not a big deal. It's a straight shot. There's none of that weave stuff. I turn into the cleaners when I'm going home. And I get in easy. Parking is ridiculous. I pulled into Republic, I zipped right in. I pulled into the highway, I zipped right in. I even took my bike a few times. So it's still early on with this thing, but it is, and all the articles in the paper, Ferndale's road diet, Detroit's road diet, every week it seems like there's another article, and Berkeley gets in there, which is good press. So I'm so far very excited and pleased with the whole process with it. And it slows people down. I can't go, I shouldn't say this on tape, but I used to go maybe a little faster than the speed limit, and I can't, which is fantastic. Now I'm slowing down, but anyway, I'm a big fan so far. I'm giving it a 90 at this point, not 190, because I have to hold back until I see what happens in a few more months.
I have a unique perspective, obviously being able to, with the patio and then constantly being, moving around outside. I see, the one thing I do see is how clean the ambulances run through Coolidge now. Like that middle lane, being access to them with their lights up, like it's zooming, right? They're moving fast, everyone's off to the sides, everything's safe, and there's no slowdowns. And like, we probably see an ambulance, unfortunately, probably, 12 to 15 times a day, you know what I mean, running through Berkley. So, but, that being said, like I was appalled at how quickly we were able to navigate that, so that was definitely a huge plus.
I saw, there was a fire in Oak Park off of Coolidge between 8 and 9. And obviously it was a community fire alarm. But Berkley sent out 2 police vehicles, a fire truck. I saw 2 ambulances, and this was all like in a 60-second period. And to see one of those hook and ladders, I mean, just fly down the road, and yes, cars just did what they were supposed to do. They followed, the law. They pulled over. They had the parking spots where the ambulances. I did walk out, and they utilized that center lane as well as the travel lane when cars allowed. It was well orchestrated. I mean, it does work. I've seen a handful of bikes out on the road. I think I've seen you out on the bike lanes. I'm sure that, speaking as somebody who's almost gotten run over by a bike on the sidewalk, I'm welcome to share the sidewalk, with the bike.
Probably me too, sorry.
But they're doing, I think the cars are getting used, I think that's a process to get used to, as well as the bikers, being probably a little bit cautious on their own, but it all, to Mitchell's, comment, that it's working. It's surprisingly enough, it is all working, from the ambulance, the fire, the police, the bikes. It's a work in progress, but it's working.
Average speed and noise are just down.
Yeah.
So there's appropriate speeds.
Yeah, absolutely.
And Elaine's got me on a bagel. I never stop for a bagel. And I'm cruising by, and I'm like, I turned around. Bagel time. Get it, so there are profits.
You can park right there.
There it is. I parked right in front of me, and I got a bagel.
Well, there were a lot of businesses that didn't have parking. I know before the micro resurfacing, we had 3 parking spots in front of Sugar Kisses Berkley Eyewear. And then after the micro surfacing, we went down to 2. And now I've seen up to 5 cars parked there with all appropriate spacing, being able to get in and out without having to, get mad or curse. And for those businesses, we have a parking lot behind us, but they don't all have parking lots. So their customers are just, like you said, Elaine's Bagels has probably got to be one of the biggest test cases, and I'd love to hear from them in 4 months, because you got to park in the bar's parking lot, which not everybody would really know to do or want to do, right off the cuff. But how easy is it to pull in, 30 seconds, go in, get your bagel and coffee, back in the car, zipping? What does that mean for the consumer? It was just a quick stop for them. But what it means for the business is exponential, because now they've got customers stopping where they probably didn't have before.
The car door thing, I forgot to mention.
Yeah.
It used to be, you're looking in the rearview mirror, looking, and just trying to get a Jets Pizza, wait. And now, the door goes open, you still have to look, but plenty of room to stand up and go out.
But see, there's another good test case. They were down to no parking in front of Jets.
Yep.
Okay, now again, for a 60-second carry-out pizza pickup order, pull in, get out, get your pizza, pull right out again. It's not taking up any parking in their parking lot for somebody who's staying longer. They're in and out, and yeah, absolutely, the car door issue. I've had several customers mention that as they come in, that they feel a lot more comfortable getting out of the car.
Yeah, no, it's very cool.
Public comments? Okay, awesome. Can I get a motion to adjourn? Bless you.
Thank you.
Motion.
That was a motion to adjourn.
All in favor? All opposed, come on. Anybody opposed? Come on, one person. Thank you.
Thanks for coming.